I'm Taleen Akopyan. I'm co-founder of Purse Rehab. We're a family-owned company. We've been in business for 35 years. I'm going to walk you through how my team restores a $2,000 Louis Vuitton belt bag that's been slashed. It's from their 2003 collection, so it's discontinued. Our client reached out to us. Unfortunately, this was part of an argument with an ex-boyfriend who decided to slash her favorite bag. The repair process will entail several steps. What we have here is our senior technician disassembling the front pocket of the bag from the main zipper compartment. And this is done by undoing the stitching that's on the outermost layer. And what we're using here is a round awl to open up the stitches. It's important to use a round awl because this will help with not damaging the canvas. Once we've taken apart the front pocket, we will move on to the main lining and we will undo the stitching there to remove the piping, which is basically what's keeping the front pocket and the main compartment together. And again, we will be using the same round awl to do this step. Once we're done with the deconstruction phase, we will be replacing the following pieces that have the most damage. The front pocket, which includes the lining, and the lining that is also part of the main compartment, which is outer facing. So the 3 layers will be replaced. Here we're recreating the pieces that we're going to replace. And we do this by making templates to match the exact size of the original piece that we're replacing. We're using a sharp knife to cut out the template. We have 3 different pieces that we'll be doing, so this is an important part of the replacement process to ensure that we get the exact same template that matches the original piece. We are using authentic recycled Louis Vuitton material. We have the canvas that we'll be replacing with an authentic piece that matches the original. And we are also using the lining from a recycled bag that matches the existing lining. So in essence, we are using the exact same type of material to restore the pieces that we are replacing. Here, our senior technician is skiving the canvas. Skiving is a process where the leather or canvas is thinned out. It's essentially shaved to a thinner layer, and it's typically only done around the edges because those are the areas that we're going to fold and stitch. Once the canvas is skived, our technician here is applying glue to the area that was skived, and we're using a plastic container with a pointy tip to ensure that the glue is only applied to the area that we need to apply to. We have applied the glue. Now we'll be putting the lining together with the canvas that we recreated. And we apply the heat because the heat helps activate the glue so that it adheres better and it's secure. Once we've completed this step, we're going to stitch the Louis Vuitton monogram piece that we are reusing. This is the original piece that we're restitching on the lining that we cut out. So the lining is new, but the top portion is the existing piece. So once we restitch this together, we will bring the front pocket and the back lining together. Once the 2 pieces have been separately stitched, we will glue them together using contact cement glue. We need to glue every piece before we do the stitching to ensure there's no movement and it's very secure. And once we have the front pocket and the back lining together, we are going to put in the date code. This is an important piece to retain the authenticity of the bag. Once that's done, the next step is to re-glue the piping to the trim of the front pocket. Again, here we're reusing the same piping because it wasn't damaged, and we want to retain as much of the original parts as possible. After gluing the piping, we're going to restitch to the front pocket. You'll notice that the piping has two stitch lines. One is to stitch the piping to the front pocket, and the second line is to stitch it to the main compartment. The next step here is to patch up the interior lining cut. We did not replace the full interior lining in an effort to retain the original pieces because it wasn't very damaged and it's a less visible space. We're using a wider brush to apply the glue because we're working with wider space, so we don't have to be as precise. We're now gluing the main compartment to the exterior pocket. And we are stapling the two pieces together. This is not something that's typically done in this industry, but our senior technician has been using this technique for many years, and it's a successful technique because it's basically an added layer of security to ensure that there's zero movement when we're stitching all the pieces together. And he's hammering down the staples to ensure that they're flat and there's no chance of them being caught in the sewing machine when we do the stitching. And we're using a guide to ensure that the stitching is straight and aligned with the bag. And here we are removing the staples using a stapler remover. And this is a rounded tip so it doesn't cause any damage to the bag. We're hammering the edges of the bag after turning it right side out to straighten out the edges and ensure everything is in place. Of course, we have to straighten out the piping to make sure everything is in place so that the final stitching will be as perfect as possible. We have to be very careful in this particular stage to ensure that the needles go back into the same hole. So we have to be very focused and very careful in making sure that we are using not only the same color thread, the thickness of the thread has to match, and we follow the holes accordingly. I'm super pleased with the results and so proud of our team and our senior technician for taking this challenge on and giving this bag a second life. I can't wait to share it with our client.